And an ugly day on Wall Street. Stocks plunging hours after President Trump attacked Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell, calling him a major loser. We're following these major developing stories and many more, all coming in right here to CNN News Central. We do begin this hour with our breaking news off of Wall Street. President Trump's continued attacks on Fed Chair Jerome Powell and his attempts to oust him, sending the markets into another deep dive.
Stocks, as you can see on your screen, plunging following the president's comments amid Powell's refusal to cut interest rates. He called the Fed chair a major loser on Truth Social and once again demanded that Powell immediately take action. Let's get the latest from CNN business and politics correspondent Vanessa Yurkevich, who's watching markets. So, Vanessa, what else is fueling this drop?
Yeah, well, we're seeing a major sell-off on Wall Street today. You see the Dow down more than 1,200 points, the Nasdaq down almost 4%, and the S&P down just over 3%. So there's two storylines playing out right now that investors and traders are sort of trying to grapple with, and storylines they don't think are going away anytime soon. First, you have the situation where over the weekend, we know that there were negotiations going on, and even until last week between Japan and the United States. But investors and traders aren't seeing any tangible deals being made, and that's concerning for them because they see Japan as an ally, as a key trading partner. And I have an analyst that I spoke to a little bit earlier who said that if Japan and the U.S. can't come to a deal, what does that mean for the dozens of other countries that are supposed to be negotiating with the United States around this trade war? And then, as you mentioned, you have President Trump on Truth Social earlier posting that he wants the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates and also calling the chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, a loser and Mr. Way Too Late, essentially saying that he's way too late in lowering rates. But the Federal Reserve is an independent institution. It was set up that way on purpose. And so now you have traders and investors worried that the president is trying to meddle into monetary policy. Now, this is nothing new for the president. In his first term, he also tried to signal that he wanted to remove Jerome Powell. But ultimately, for investors and traders, the Federal Reserve acts sort of as a safety net, a way to sort of check and balance the U.S. economy. And we know, look at what happened during COVID. The Federal Reserve was instrumental in bringing down inflation. And many economists warn that this trade war will only make prices go higher, prices increase. And so the Federal Reserve will be key in trying to manage those high prices for everyday U.S. consumers. So you have investors sort of seeing two stories play out here, and they don't see an end to these stories. And so you have investors and traders pricing in sort of the worst case scenario in markets right now. The Federal Reserve will meet next month, and that's where we will hear from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell about what they will do with interest rates. And no doubt the press conference that follows that initial announcement about what they're going to do with interest rates, Jerome Powell will be asked about this sparring with the president. Previously, Jerome Powell has said that the president does not have the power under the law to remove him. We did read through one Supreme Court ruling from 1935 that said only if there was cause could the president remove someone like the Fed chair. But it's really tricky to do something like that. It's never been done before. And if you look at the picture that's playing out on Wall Street right now, to remove the chair of the Federal Reserve would only make what we're seeing today a lot worse. Boris and Brianna.
Vanessa Yurkevich, thank you so much for the reporting. So today, President Trump says that he is standing behind